Hey class, this is another lab video. This one hopefully will be pretty short and simple. We're going to be adding next level portals so you can create more levels for your game. It's going to be just moving some stuff around that we already have. Basically, we're going to write a little bit of new code. I'll post the code online so you can copy and paste, but you can also follow along in the video. It's pretty simple. So anyway, let's get started. I have my MMP 270 folder open. If you're just working on your project and adding new changes to it, go ahead and open your project. If you are, I'm going to duplicate my lab so I, still have my kind of progression. But we do have a lot of folders now, so it's getting to be a little ridiculous. But eventually, once I've got everything done, I'll go back and delete these. Anyway, I'm just going to duplicate lab 8. This is lab 9. I think this is our second to last Godot Lab. And I'm just going to go ahead and open project.godot, and let's switch to the small view. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to create a new version of our end level portal. So that's down here in scenes. Looks a little bit small. Let's zoom in on this. So last time we created this end level portal, but we actually used that to end the game. So let's open this up and take a look. So we made this kind of like little tree guy with this animated sprite that kind of changes when you get there. And then there's a script attached to this. So if we click on the script, this is going to bring up that beat the game, and so you can either play over or you can quit. So we're going to make another copy of this because we're going to have another script associated with this, but everything else about it is going to be the same. So I'm going to go down here and duplicate this, and this one I actually called end level portal. So the new one, I'll just make that end game portal. And just kind of leave that as it is. And then we'll actually edit the end level portal that we already had. But it doesn't really matter as long as you have them in the right place. It doesn't really matter what they're called. Anyway, so the portal itself is going to stay completely the same. We're not going to change anything, but we are going to change this script. So over here in the script, I'm just going to go and clear that script and then make a new script. And looks like the script I had was end level. I should have thought about naming this a little bit better. Anyway, I'm going to click on this folder to make sure I'm not putting this in my scenes folder. I want this to go in the scripts folder. I made that mistake last time, so let's fix it this time. And we can't have the script have the same name as the script that we already have. Oh, I guess I had win game last time. It's just calling it that because that's the name of the scene. So that's fine. So I'm going to click open. And then for the template, I'm going to go empty. Don't really need anything in there. And then create. And it does add one line, which is the extends node 2D, which is useful. I do need that in there. So everything else we're going to be doing in here is actually going to be using code that we did last time. So rather than look it up or write it again, I'm just going to open those other scripts and copy and paste into it. That's like, what most of coding really is just copying and pasting stuff from other places. So let's go to the start menu. That's where we loaded that file last time. And that's what we're going to do with the end level portal is we're just going to load the next level. So I'm going to copy this line that says export variable load level path. So we need that. Remember that export is what allows us to edit things on the editor side so we can change like different instances of things. And that's going to be important because each level is going to go to a new place. So we want to be able to change that. So that's good. So we can add in where we want to go. So if I go back to the end level portal editor, now we can see there's a load level path right here where we can put in the level that we want. We haven't created that level yet, so we'll come back to that. Anyway, the other thing I want to do is change the signal. So the signal right now is connected to a script that we just removed. So I want to disconnect that signal, and then we're just going to reconnect it. So I'm going to double click on body entered. That's going to generate some code for me inside of my end level portal script. So I'm going to click connect. And so we're back at the script that we were just editing. So that's the right place that we want to be. It added a bunch of lines that I don't actually need. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go to that level. So let's go back to our start menu. And remember, this is how we load a level. We use the get tree function, and then we do change scene, and then we change to whatever scene we want. So let's put that in there. So that's going to actually change the scene for us. And then we do want to make sure that the thing that entered that area was the player, just in case there's like NPCs walking around there. So let's double check to make sure it is the player. And we have some code to do that. I'm just going to copy and paste from right here. If body.name is player, then we are going to load the level. And I just indented over because once we do the if statement, that means we're opening a new code scope. And so we have to move everything over a little bit so that we know which code scope it's in. Anyway, that's the whole code. That's everything that we have to write. So that's pretty straightforward. So now we're just going to adjust our level 1 to go to level 2. But level 2 doesn't exist yet. So let's make it. And we're actually going to make level 3 as well. So I'm going to take level 1 and I'm just going to duplicate it. So let's call this level 2. And while we are at it, let's duplicate it one more time and call it level 3. Feel free to make as many levels as you want. As long as you have 3, that's enough for the final project. But if you want to make more, obviously that's great. So let's first go to level 1. And we're going to make some changes here. So I'm going to go to the main scene. So let's go all the way to the end. And I left my player here last time, which I shouldn't have done, but now it's actually going to be useful because we are going to be testing. And right now we have this portal that ends the game. We want to replace that. So I can just go ahead down here. And what I'm going to do is just, let's see, can I change it? Can I change the type? Oh, it won't let me change to a different scene. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a child node. So this way I don't have to like find the placement again. Actually, I'm going to add an instance child scene, and I'm going to get the EndLevelPortal instead of the EndGamePortal. And then I'm just going to drag it up here and delete this one. So that was a little tricky way of just making sure it doesn't move. But you can also just, move it into the right place. Anyway, so we're going to leave that there. I'm going to rename this like next level portal or something like that. And then I need to change one of the values in the script, the load level path. So that's a new, instead of just winning the game here, we have to go to a new level. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to go to my scenes, and we want to load level 2, which is right here. So I'm going to click on that and click open. And so now when we get to the end of level 1, we're just going to go straight to level 2. If I go now, it's not going to, well, we'll know that we're back at the beginning of the level. So let's just test it real quick. So I'm in level 1, and let's see if I go here. Okay, so we're level 2 is still the same because we made a copy, but it did show that we went to a new level. So that's good. So now let's just design level 2. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this because it wouldn't really be that useful, but I'm just going to do a couple things, to give you guys a couple ideas, and that'll be it. You guys can, work on your own levels. But one thing we do want to remember from our lecture about level design is that remember the principle that your level should be different enough that if I say, if I refer to a level, you'll know what I'm talking about. So we want to think of ways to make the levels different enough that any player would know the difference between all the levels. So I'm just going to make a few changes here. I'm going to start by just removing all of these items. You can leave them in and move them around if that's easier, but I'm going to just start from scratch. And I'm actually not going to put any new items or obstacles back in here because that would make this video very long. I'm going to leave everything else the same. And then I'm actually going to delete my tile sets. So I'm just going to clear this tile set. And I couldn't figure out a way to undo what's already there. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but I haven't learned that yet. But anyway, this way I can set new tiles, and since I've changed the tiles a little bit anyway, that'll be easier. Let's move my player back to the middle before I forget to do that. And then we have our EndLevelPortal way out here. Let's move that. So one thing that I'm going to do to make this level very obviously different is change some of the colors. And I can do that on a layer level. So I can grab my parallax layer, and remember I have this canvas item and I have this modulate value, and I can change the colors. So maybe we'll make this level a little more dark and menacing. So I'll just change the colors in a few of these guys. Have some kind of gross looking green and brown clouds to make this level look a little more scary or something like that. So that looks fine. So that's one way that we can make it very clear we're in a different place. Another thing is we can change the color of the platforms. I had actually written platforms brown here, but let's change that to something else. But I do need to add a platform. I'm just going to do this real quick. I'm not going to, go over how to do a tile set again, but let's just grab one of our platform graphics. So I have to go to sprites. Where's my platforms? Here we go. I'm just going to take one of these. So let's blow that up a little bit. Let's add a tile, turn snapping on, and let's just add a collider because otherwise it's not really going to do much for us. Okay, there's our collider. That's pretty much it. That's very, very quick platform building. So let's put a platform below the player right here for the player to land on. And then we don't need that much platform. And let's change the color a little bit. So maybe we'll make this a bit green. Actually, that matches a little bit too much with the clouds. So maybe we'll make it like darker. Maybe we'll make it like dark. Okay, that's fine. You might want to spend a little more time working on your color scheme than I did, but anyway, just want to differentiate a little bit. And then the last way that I'm going to differentiate here is this level, instead of going across, is going to go down. And that's also going to allow me to point out the fact that we can change some of the values in our different scenes. So besides changing the colors, so I'm just going to put, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. I'm just going to put my EndLevelPortal like directly right here. Okay, so one of the values that I changed was like the colors in the backgrounds. But another thing I can change is actually like the camera settings. So level 1, the camera just tracks back and forth, and the vertical doesn't change at all. But if I want the player to go down, I can turn on track vertical, and it's only going to turn on for this level 2 scene. So that's one of the nice things about using these instances of scenes, is that I can have them change from scene to scene. So now notice that my camera is moving up and down with the player. And so if we go in here, I guess I don't have this set up. So now we can just set this portal to go to scene 3. Obviously, this is not a full level, but I just wanted to kind of play with a few attributes. And actually, now that I'm looking at this, it's going to be a lot easier to duplicate this than the other one. So I'm going to go into scenes. I'm going to delete scene 3 real quick. And I'm going to duplicate scene 2, call that scene level 3. Okay, I'm going to click duplicate. Okay. And then I just have to add into my portal the next level path. So I'm going to click the level path, go to scenes, go to level 3, and click open. Okay, so this is still a copy of the second level. So when I go in here, we should just go back to the second level. Okay, that looks fine. So then let's just really quickly make our level 3. I'm not going to go through all the same things that I just went through, but let's just say real simple. I'm just going to change a couple colors. So let's take this platform, just so we know that it's something different. Let's make this guy green. Okay, that looks fine. Change our cloud colors a little bit. Maybe this will start to get weird. We'll start to have some pink and purple clouds. So this will be kind of different. Okay, so that looks pretty cool. And then the other thing I'm going to do is now my level is actually going to go up. So let's take our platforms. I'm going to delete these platforms. And let's put some platforms up here. And we'll put the end of the game. So this will be the last part. So now for our EndLevelPortal, now we have to go back and get the end game. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this actually. So where's the delete node down here? Okay. I'm going to add a new instance of the end game portal. Hopefully that still works. I didn't really check to make sure everything is the same there. We'll stick this up here. And let's just test this real quick. So this is my level 3. So we were going right and left. Then we were going down. Now we're going up. And now we win the game. So that's pretty much it. That's basically, you can add as many new levels and portals as you want just by using that formula. So, just keep duplicating, design your level, and then just connect them through those portals. One thing that you might have realized is now that I have this like win game scene, I don't really need that in level 2 or level 1 anymore. So if I want to be nice and clean, I can go ahead and delete those scenes, those little metrics things. Since we don't really need them anymore. You don't have to do that. It's not going to break anything, but just because we don't need that. So then let's test it. Let's make sure we can get through our whole game. So I'm starting back at level 1. I'm still in the middle of level 1, so I do need to reset my player. But anyway, so I'm going to kill these snakes. I'm going to grab these apples. One thing that you are going to notice, see how this says 4 right now as my score. We are going to see that reset when I go through my portal. So that's what we're actually going to cover in the next lab is some global variables. So we can keep track of that data between levels rather than just per, level by level. Anyway, here's level 2. So we can tell this is a little different. I have to go down. Didn't really have to do much there. And now we're at level 3. Uh-oh. Fortunately, that is still there. Oh, but when we go to play again, we go back to the beginning. I hadn't even thought about that. Maybe that's how you want it. Maybe when we go and add global variables, you can add lives. And so the player gets a certain number of tries. Wow, that jump is too hard. Let's go to level 3 and I'm just gonna adjust this jump real quick. So let's get rid of that and put it right there. Hopefully that will be easier. I don't know if I can make that other jump. Anyway, I'm going to save that. So one thing that we might want to adjust, if we die in level 2, we don't want to go to level 1. So when we die, that's handled by the player. So we're actually going to have to add a little bit of code in here. Because when we game over... Oh, no, that's inside game over. Okay, when we game over, we go to, we can change this, I think. Okay, so if I click on the game over, yes, I can change this script. So if I die in level 2, I want to go to level 2. I'm glad I designed that in a way that it was easy to update. And if I game over in level 3, I want to go back to level 3. I don't want to start from the beginning. So you could actually make them go back to the beginning, or you could test it against a global variable for like the number of lives. We'll go over that next week. Anyways, let's see if that worked. So I'm in level 3 now. Okay, now I can actually make these jumps and I can win the game. And I could go back to level 1. So if I die in level 1, I should start in level 1. Okay. Probably don't need to test all this stuff on the video, but I'm already doing it. So here we go. Okay, now I'm in level 2. If I die level 2, I should go back to level 2. Very good. And finally, if I die level 3, I should go back to level 3. Great. I'm still kind of like jumping when I die, which I hadn't noticed when I didn't have the track Y value on. So you could just, make the player disappear or something like that, but I'm not gonna bother changing that right now. Anyway, let's go here and we won the game. So that looks good and great. So that's everything for this video. So hopefully it's pretty straightforward. I'll post the code and stuff. And yeah, now we can add some more levels. And as I mentioned, next week, we'll go over adding some global variables so we can keep track of our metrics, like our score and stuff, like in different levels. So yeah, I'll see you guys in class. Again, let me know if you have any questions or anything like that.